Clinton also stressed the importance of voting in what he called the most important election in history.
I ask you to do this for yourselves. Do this for your future. Take a flying leap these next 30 days and think about what we can do.
The former president spoke to a crowd ranging from college students to senior community members. Amesville resident Dwight Mitchell has lived in Southeast Ohio for 30 years. Mitchell was eager to see former President Clinton and hear what he had to say.
I think he cleared the water. A lot of the issues of not being able to reach fair partitioning, expression, haven't been out in the campaigns. I think he did a nice job of what Hillary will do.
Shannon Carver, a mother and Clinton supporter, also saw the significance of Clinton coming to town.
There's a lot of young people, for one, with the university, but also with it being a small town in southeastern Ohio where everybody needs as much help as they can get. So it's really great that he comes here and gets everybody excited about the election.
And that deadline is coming up fast. Thanks so much, Sean. Later in the show, we'll have more information on how to cast absentee ballots. But joining us now for a discussion on Clinton's speech is President of OU College Democrats, Sam Miller, and President of OU College Republicans, David Parkhill. Thanks so much for being here this evening, you guys. But first, I'm going to ask Sam the first question. What do you think was the most important message from today?
President Clinton really emphasized a lot that college students really need to come together to support Hillary Clinton. In the primaries, a lot of people were split in our demographic about Bernie Sanders or Hillary. And I think it's very clear that in order to continue the progress of President Obama, we all need to come together. They have a lot of the same policy, and a lot of college students don't necessarily understand that at the moment. But I mean, he also emphasized a lot on her college plan, which is going to make it so 85% of Ohio's population would get to go to college debt-free. And that is an amazing policy. She really worked with Bernie Sanders on that, and I think that it's really important, and I'm glad that he brought that up during his speech today.
Great, thank you. And now, David, I just wanted to ask you, what did you think of this? Did anything surprise you from the speech?
No. Sorry, excuse me. Hitting on that college issue and the issue of tuition, I think it's very obvious that Athens was very pro-Bernie Sanders, and when the DNC and Hillary Clinton screwed him out of his seat, she had to come crawling back to all of the supporters who wanted him. So I think as long as she can try and identify as much as possible with him, she should be able to do very well with the students in Athens.
Great. And Sam, why do you think it's important that Clinton tries to reach that college demographic?
We are the biggest voter base in this election. President Obama would not have been elected if it were not for college students getting out there, registering to vote, and going to the polls. And I think that she really realizes that we are also the future of this nation. And by the time this presidency ends, we are going to be starting our careers and starting our lives. And I think that she is really trying to emphasize to them that, you know, the policy that's going to be enacted in this next presidency is really going to affect them. And I think it's really smart that she's trying to target them because, I mean, there's so many of us. We're bigger than the baby boomers, and we have so much potential, and we really have the chance to change things if we all band together.
And David, how do you think the Republican candidate is trying to reach the college demographic?
Absolutely. I think Donald Trump is a very excitable candidate. I think it's interesting that the Clinton campaign decided to send Bill instead of President Clinton instead of Hillary. She's just not very excitable. I think that Donald Trump needs to focus on jobs and making sure that we keep our jobs here at home. Like Sam said, when we graduate, we're going to be the biggest influence on this country. And I think Donald Trump is resonating with a lot of Republicans who have felt off-put during these past 8 years. And I think that's how he's going to resonate with college students, really bringing it home that change is coming, we're out of these past 8 years, and that you're going to have a bright future.
And what do you think is important for college students to remember as they prepare to vote?
You're going to get at least 4 more years of Obama's policies. Obama has had the slowest GDP growth. It's just not an economy conducive to business. And Hillary claims to be very for small business. I believe President Clinton made a statement about that today, and she wants to raise taxes on business. Raising taxes on business is going to cut jobs. More government regulation is going to cut jobs. And I think if you want a job and you want a fair job that's going to be in the United States, you need to vote for Donald J. Trump.
And Sam, what's your response to this?
I would love to have 4 more years of Obama. He has made it so that so many Americans have affordable health care, and I think that he is one of the most progressive presidents we've had yet. You know, I understand that Donald Trump is a businessman and that potentially he could be great for the economy, but you know, he doesn't pay his contractors, he hasn't released his tax records, and I think that's really important. There's no transparency with this candidate, and that's not appealing to young people. He is constantly hiding behind so many back doors. You know, I think it's a clear choice that Clinton really cares about our future of this country, and I don't see the potential with the Trump presidency at all.
All right, well, Sam, David, thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing your opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless of who you're voting for, thousands of Ohioans are preparing to vote in the upcoming elections by requesting absentee ballots. The number of Ohioans who have asked for an absentee ballot is close to 1 million, with 35,000 more requested compared to this point in 2012. Joshua Eck is the spokesman for Ohio's Secretary of State and says he expects a record number of absentee votes this year.
We're right now on track to have more people voting absentee in 2016 than have ever voted before. So Ohio is a state where there is a lot of opportunity, and voters certainly should take advantage of that.
Completed absentee ballots must be postmarked by November 7th. To request one, go to the Federal Voting Assistance Program website at fvap.gov/Ohio. Now for an update on a story we've been covering since last week. The Athens Pot Ferry was originally reported to have left 27 marijuana plants on local porches, but now Athens PD says they aren't even marijuana plants. Instead, they are hibiscus cannabis plants, which don't provide a high and are legal. The man who goes by the Athens Gardener claims he left the plants as a gift and hopes APD will return them. Athens County currently has the most extreme rate of income inequality in any county in Ohio. That's according to a recent report from the Athens Foundation. In Athens, the top 20% make nearly 7 times more than the bottom 20%. The report notes that more than half of the children in the county qualify for free or reduced price lunch. It also says support projects in the county have provided treatment and counseling to over 100 pregnant women and mothers dealing with opioid addiction. The report also addresses issues of area health, housing, and addiction. A man has been sentenced to a year in prison after escaping from a local correctional facility. Orville Mellett pleaded guilty to escaping the Southeast Probation Treatment Center, a third-degree felony. The Athens County Sheriff's Office says Mellett left for lunch and simply never returned. He has no chance for early release.
Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. At the end of last week and over the weekend, we saw some below average temperatures giving us our first taste of fall for the year, but things are beginning to heat back up. Right now we're sitting at the end of the day with temperatures nearing 80 degrees. It's 77 right now up in Columbus, 78 here in Athens, and 75 right now over in New Martinsville. Things will cool down a bit though as we go through the night. 8 p.m. 69 degrees, we'll have a few clouds in the area. But by midnight, those clouds will be out of the region, giving us some nice clear skies overnight, dropping down to 61 degrees by midnight and 57 degrees by 4 a.m. Overnight lows pretty similar across the region, all in the mid to upper 50s. 56 the low for tonight in Columbus, 54 over in New Martinsville, and a little bit warmer down south at 57 in Ironton and 58 degrees in Ripley. Again, we'll have those nice clear skies tonight, and it will be sunny tomorrow. And coming up, I'll tell you how warm things will get tomorrow. Over to you, Mackenzie.
All right, thanks, Ananda. That looks great. The Kentucky Division of Forestry is preparing for another active wildfire season. The agency says fall forest fire hazard season is underway. Division Director Bill Steele says leaf litter is the most common source of combustible material in Kentucky forests. The agency says nearly 1,500 wildfires occur yearly in Kentucky, mostly due to arson and careless open burning. A Cleveland man fatally shot a woman inside a Burger King before killing himself in the bathroom. Authorities say the murder-suicide occurred around 8 a.m. today. Cuyahoga County Medical Center identified the victim as Erlyn Michelle Riviera Clintron, a Burger King employee. The suspect was identified as George Avels. Avels was Riviera's ex-boyfriend. A new process could grant mercy to convicted killers. Ronald Phillips is set to die January 12th for the 1993 rape and killing of his girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter. The state prisons agency will hold a hearing where Phillips' attorney can ask the Ohio Parole Board for mercy. Governor John Kasich will have the final decision. Back in 2013, the Parole Board voted unanimously against giving Phillips mercy. And coming up next on Newswatch, the one and only vice presidential debate is tonight. We'll tell you what to expect from the running mate. Plus, a house explosion in New Jersey leaves 15 people homeless tonight. We hear from the fire chief when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
In an election year when the focus has been at the top of the major party tickets, the vice presidential candidates will get their time in the spotlight tonight. Mike Pence and Tim Kaine will take part in their only debate. Scott McLean is at Longwood University, Farmville, Virginia, with a preview.
The stage is set at Longwood University for the vice presidential candidates. Tonight's event will be their one and only debate. Indiana's Republican Governor Mike Pence.
I'm looking forward to that debate on Tuesday night.
And Virginia's Democratic Senator Tim Kaine.
I look forward to seeing you down there on Tuesday.
Have spent days preparing for their showdown. CBS News' Elaine Quijano is the first Asian American to moderate a national debate. She'll start each of the 9 segments with a question. The candidates will have 2 minutes to respond. That format is similar to the presidential debate, but there's one big difference on stage. The candidates will be seated at a table rather than standing at podiums.
When the candidates are seated at a table, it facilitates a different kind of conversation, and that's something that we haven't always done.
More than 84 million people tuned in to watch the first presidential debate, but there are more modest expectations for the VP contenders, who are tied when it comes to favorability. A CNN ORC poll found that 38% of registered voters view each man favorably, 30% unfavorably, and another 30% have no opinion at all.
The debate begins in just a few hours at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune into Newswatch tomorrow evening for the highlights. A possible gas explosion destroyed 2 multifamily homes and damaged a dozen others in New Jersey this morning. The blast occurred about 20 minutes after residents reported smelling gas. Public Service Electric and Gas say the cause of the leak is still under investigation. No residents were injured in the blast, but 15 people are now homeless and 23 others are temporarily displaced. 10 firefighters were hospitalized for minor injuries. At a press conference today, Patterson Fire Chief Michael Postorino discussed the extent of the damage.
We are still actively searching the area. There are approximately 15 houses that have been affected by this explosion within about a 4-block radius.
And surrounding blocks were evacuated as a precaution. And on Wall Street today, stocks varied across the board. Here's a look at some stocks of local interest.
It may be fall, but we're going to be seeing warm temperatures for the rest of your work week. With that, a lot of sunshine. I'll have more on that, plus your extended forecast, coming up on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. It is the beginning of October, but today felt anything but like that. We hit a high of 80 degrees today, over 10 degrees above our normal for this time of year. We're seeing about 81 actually by our afternoon temperature, so we a little bit above that high for today. Our lows are right around average though for this time of year at 48 degrees this morning. Average low for this time of year, 46 degrees. Looking at our PRECIPCAST, we have high pressure over to our east, which has been giving us those nice sunny skies and warm temperatures over the past few days. As we look toward tomorrow, we do see this rain headed toward us, but that will push north instead of hitting us, so we shouldn't expect any rain from that. Down to our south, we do see Hurricane Matthew approaching the east coast. That will continue to move up the coast throughout the week, but we shouldn't expect any rain from that. Only chance for rain, we will have an upper level trough bringing us a slight chance for some rain showers on Saturday. Now, overnight, we are going to be in the mid to upper 50s across the region. 56 degrees our low for tonight in Columbus, 55 in Athens, and 57 down in Ironton. Once again for tonight, 55 degrees your low in Athens. We're going to have some nice clear skies and cool conditions, so good night to go out and look at those stars. Tomorrow morning, still pretty chilly at 54 degrees for your bus stop forecast. We are going to see sunny skies, but you might still want to send those kids out with a jacket. That sunshine is going to heat things up pretty quickly though through our day. 70 degrees by noon, and we're going to hit 77 degrees by 4 p.m. Again, all sunshine for tomorrow. We're going to hit 79 degrees for our high, very warm for this time of year. Across the region, we see temperatures all in the upper 70s to low 80s tomorrow. 78 degrees the high in Columbus, 80 degrees over in Marietta, and down in Ironton, we are hitting 82 degrees. For your 7-day, we see sunshine all through the week, except for Saturday when we do get that little chance for rain once again. And throughout the week, we're going to hit the upper 70s, until your weekend when we do see a cold front push through associated with that trough, dropping things down into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Sunday is going to be our lowest point for this week at 64 degrees, and those overnight lows also, if you take a look at those, dropping quite a bit after we see that cold front push through. 42 degrees is going to be your low on Sunday, only 10 degrees above that freezing point, so make sure if you're out over the weekend nights, you bundle up quite a bit. Then for the beginning of your week, we're going to start heating up a little bit as we see high pressure building in the region. 67 degrees, your high by Monday, and then on Tuesday, we see a few clouds in the region, but continuing to warm up at 70 degrees for your high. Back to you, Mackenzie.
All right, thanks, Ananda. Category 4 Hurricane Matthew slammed into Haiti's southwestern coast early this morning. Haiti's Civil Protection Agency is reporting one man has drowned as a result of the storm. Raising Matthew's death toll is to at least 3 life-threatening floods. Landslides and sustained winds up to 145 miles per hour are expected. Residents are bracing for the region's strongest storm in nearly a decade. Organizations are standing by to begin emergency relief.
And for sports, I'm Blake Baker. After the break, we recap a Viking win on Monday Night Football to wrap up the NFL week. And we look ahead to October baseball, kicked off by the Orioles and Blue Jays tonight. It's all up next when Newswatch returns. And make sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Blake Baker. Week 4 of the NFL season came to a close last night when the New York Giants traveled to Minnesota to take on the undefeated Vikings and lost 24-10. After stifling opposing offenses the first 3 weeks, Minnesota's defense shined again. They recovered a fumbled punt return in the opening quarter and forced an interception in the third. Both turnovers led to scoring drives for the Vikes. The pick was Eli Manning's 15th all-time against the Vikings, and the loss was his 6th in 8 tries. The G-men found no holes on the ground, rushing for just 78 yards on the night, and a normally dangerous receiving corps was kept relatively quiet. The Giants look to bounce back against Green Bay Sunday night, while Minnesota hosts Houston in hopes of remaining unbeaten. The end of Week 4 means that New England's Tom Brady is no longer suspended. Brady was sidelined for the first 4 games of the season for his involvement in Deflategate that dates back to the 2014 AFC Championship game. New England escaped Weeks 1 through 4 with a 3-1 record, starting Jimmy Garoppolo and rookie Jacoby Brissett in place of Brady. We're now 4 days into October, and postseason baseball is on the horizon. In the American League tonight, wildcard teams square off as the Toronto Blue Jays host the Baltimore Orioles. Both teams ended the regular season with the exact same record, but the Jays won the season series 10-9. Toronto's Marcus Stroman will face a power-packed O's lineup as he looks for his second postseason win from the bump. The winner of tonight's game will head to Arlington on Thursday for Game 1 of the ALDS against the Texas Rangers. In the National League, the San Francisco Giants hit the road for New York, preparing for the Mets in tomorrow night's wildcard matchup. Batters beware a battle of star pitchers as New York's Noah Syndergaard and San Francisco's Madison Bumgarner take the hill. The winning squad will face the top-seeded Cubs in Chicago for the opening game of the NLDS on Friday. And with that, the buzzer sounds on your news and notes and sports today. I'm Blake Baker. Toss it back to you, Mackenzie.
All right, thanks, Blake. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Mackenzie Pyatt. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.